Hey girl, Marissa here. You are listening to the Codependummy podcast. As a young woman, you have been raised, reinforced, and rewarded for putting the needs of others above your own. Now, in your 20s, you're finding yourself exhausted, exasperated, and enveloped in shit relationships, especially the one you have with yourself. Codependency is a way of being where we put the feelings, wants, and needs of others above our own in an unconscious attempt to meet our own feelings, wants, and needs. Sorry to break it to you, sis, but that is not sustainable. This podcast is to help you undo all that so you can stop playing small and start taking up space, you dummy. Let's get to it. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Codependummy podcast. This week, we are back with our beloved segment, the Codependummy Dilemma, where I talk with a trusted and brave listener about codependency in her life. We're going to hear from Diana. Say hi, Diana.
Hello.
So we're going to hear about Diana's codependency, some of her background, and then I hope to coach and walk her through an aspect of codependency in her own life that she's struggling with currently. And this is, if you guys are interested, you can come on, just email Marissa at codependummy.com for coaching. It's not therapy, despite me being a therapist. This is really focused on, we're going to hear some background, hear about an area that Diana wants to talk through, and then what she can do moving forward, what she can do in the future. That's really what coaching entails, is a goal-oriented perspective. Okay? And that is it. So, Diana, I'm curious, how did you hear about the show and what's resonated?
Okay. I heard about the show. I think I searched codependency in, Spotify, and this came up, and it's funny to me. Codependummy was like really, and you're a woman who's, about my age. So I've kind of gone through some of the generational things, including having a second or being like a first generation or second generation, not or like having a bicultural family that also has had an impact. And so that's the reason why this has been a good podcast for me.
Awesome. So I hesitated to call the show Codependummy.
Mm-hmm.
What about it was thankfully appealing or resonant?
Okay. Yeah, I laugh a lot during your podcast. I think you're pretty funny about it. I mean, it can like kind of rub me the wrong way sometimes because it's like, oh man, like I'm being hard on myself yet again. Um, yeah, even though it's like we hate ourselves for having feelings or something like that,
Right.
So um it's controversial, I guess, but it's probably good, right? Because that's the way we are.
Right. Yeah. It's definitely pointing towards the self-criticism / self-hate that we all engage in, and also a way to take back and laugh at that. And also it's the most endearing, like it's like, oh, you dummy. Just the kindest way to point out how backwards we have it when we seek to meet our needs through these codependent manners. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I am curious, what comes to mind when I ask, how were you raised, reinforced, or rewarded for putting the needs of others above your own?
Okay. Huh. Gosh, it goes so deep, and to understand myself as a child it's very difficult.
Mm,
Because I have my story, but I don't know, it's always being filtered through the lens of my family because that's who raised me. So I
right.
constantly have, if I have a feeling or a thought about my childhood, I have to go back to my family to ask them if that's the truth. And usually it's not the truth. Usually we do not agree. Um,
Mm,
so it's hard to get a good picture, and it's kind of left me kind of isolated because I know these feelings are real. I know what I went through is real, but I don't have like the support from my family to, at least say, oh, I'm sorry, like you felt that way. Like that's it, during those times.
right.
Um, yeah, so that's why I've needed a lot of therapy, I think, is just to have at least
Mhm.
somebody say, oh, like that could be true.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Hmm.
Does that make sense?
Total sense.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard to, my own, truth is just hard to validate because
Mm,
I've never had anybody validate my truth.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. So my family
So,
is, yeah, go ahead.
no, just I'm curious, mm, with this space, hopefully me being able to validate you and you being able to validate yourself, is there a certain memory or experience where you do recall learning, oh, it's helpful to prioritize someone else's needs above my own?
Yeah. Huh. So a certain situation that comes to my
Or
mind.
just like whatever comes to heart and mind, Diana.
Mhm. Okay, just grabbing a tissue real quick.
Hmm.
I don't think I'd be crying, but that's okay.
More than
Um,
okay.
yeah, yeah, I knew this would be helpful for me. So
Mm.
I have a therapist, but it's, I was like, maybe this will be different as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so both my brother and sister are older than I am. I'm the youngest, and my brother's 5 years older, and my sister's 7 years older. Um, I ended up just being very quiet, you know, very quiet kid. Of course, that's not validated by my parents. And I think, they, oh no, you were so chatty and this and that. I'm like, oh, I felt like I was really silent.
Mm.
I felt like I was really stuck. I hid a lot, I hid when people would come over the house, and um, I had friends. I think I was okay in the friend area as a child, but um, adult wise, I don't think I had that many like positive relationships. So um that I think that had a big effect on me. So we are the only American family out of my whole family tree as well. So we're the first generation to come over to the US. So I had like a couple aunts and uncles visit while I was younger. But nobody who stayed here.
Hmm.
Um, Other than that, I mean, yeah, I guess memories are pretty difficult to recall. And I don't know if that's a symptom but it kind of just felt like I was outside of myself,
Mm-hmm.
or, I was not attached to myself growing up.
Right.
Yeah.
Who were you attached to?
Hmm. Yeah. Uh, I don't know. Fear. Just maybe a
Mm-hmm.
lot of fear. Control. Maybe I was trying to control things in the house. Um, yeah, and I was controlled, I feel like, too. Um, controlled by, maybe following my brother and sister around all the time, or trying to follow in their footsteps.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm hearing specific memories are hard, difficult to access, and it may be both a safeguarding, right? Maybe part of you doesn't want to remember vividly certain things. And also it's relational. And so there has been a pattern where you've gone to ask, like, did this happen? And you've been told no. And then you've also gone and said, okay, but I was quiet. I was shy, right? And it's like, no. Like, okay, so what I do remember is denied. And then what I like clearly, yeah, like characteristics, I'm told I was different. And so just this general disconnection to yourself, right? Not
Hmm.
attached. And I'm like, well, who are you attached to? And you're like, I think, right. So not specifically remembering incidences, but there was some type of reinforcement to follow along, right? Like where my brother and sister going, I will go there. And
Hmm.
so yeah, being attached to like someone else as opposed to yourself.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Does that
I
bring
feel
up
like
any
there's
other?
yeah, all that is right. I feel like everybody in my family, I had to manage that relationship. I felt like I always had to, do the right thing. And, um, if I ever stepped out of line, or, did something that they didn't respond positively to, that was reinforced that that behavior is not okay. And most of those behaviors was like having an opinion, you
Mm,
know, um, having a need that that wasn't responded to positively. Like, I didn't like to eat meat when I grew up, but my dad continued to like make steak for me and like make me eat it.
mm,
you know, um, my mom was a little bit better. She did cater to my needs a little bit better, in that regard. So just, and they weren't bad parents. It was just sometimes when I had specific needs, they wouldn't be responded to. So I just figured I'll never get that need met.
mhm.
And I think I just realized, still now just learning how to meet my needs.
Right. Okay, so now I'm hearing some specific vivid memories, right,
Mm-hmm.
with the meat.
Yeah.
I don't like eating meat. I'm a kid. Kids are picky. Kids have certain eating preferences and needs. And your dad's need at the time was for you to eat meat. So meat, and more meat. And being in the position that you were, okay, I'll
Mm-hmm.
eat the meat.
Yep.
Yeah. And you
I think
said,
I expressed it. I think I expressed the displeasure, but it didn't change its behavior.
right. And you said if I didn't do the right thing, if I stepped out of line, had an opinion, meat's gross, had a need, I don't want to eat meat. that was
disregarded.
Yeah. So raised, reinforced, and rewarded for putting the needs of others above your own.
Yeah. 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 I guess I didn't think
And
of it as my dad's need, but I get maybe his want.
yeah, could be
Mm-hmm.
cohesion, compliance,
Yeah.
agreement, control.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Convenience. Oh my gosh. I used to hate the bumps in my socks, like
So
that
did
little
I.
ridge.
Oh
Yeah. And
no.
so I had a really hard time getting ready for preschool, but my dad needed to go to work. And it's like, do I
Uh,
really sit and sympathize and empathize with this 3-year-old? Or do I pick her up and take her to preschool and give her to the teacher? And some days I think there was some more sympathy and empathy, but other days it was like, Marissa, we got to go.
totally.
This is a huge inconvenience. You're being an inconvenience, right? That
Yeah.
was conveyed.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's hard to
Mm-hmm.
pinpoint your needs and their needs in the moment, right? My dad's not thinking, I need to be at work on time. It's just this internal, like,
Mm-hmm.
pull to be at work on time. So yeah, it's not conscious, but it's there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm curious, with being raised, reinforced, and rewarded for putting the needs of others above your own, how has that left you? What comes to mind and how that's left you exhausted, exasperated, or enveloped in shit relationships, including the one you have with yourself?
Okay. Let's see. Yeah, just choosing what I like and what I need has been difficult. Um, when I think with my friendships, I've probably been with, I look at their needs before mine, um, or I completely withdraw. So those are kind of my two, like complete compliance or complete withdrawal are my,
Mm,
you know, my behaviors because I don't know how to say what I want without feeling guilty.
right.
Yeah. I feel like there's no other options. Either I say yes or I lose them. That's the that's how I feel because that's how it's been reinforced. Um, so I also have drug addicts in the family. Um, both my sister and my brother became codependent on drugs and alcohol when I was young, when I was 8 or 9 years old. And so there was just like, they lost their ability to be compassionate human beings, you know?
Mhm.
Um, and I think my parents also became codependent on them or codependent in that relationship because, you know, they were trying to get their needs met through them because they had lost their child, basically.
Right.
Um, yeah.
So enveloped in shit relationships,
Uh, very bad.
crappy relationships.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
With
very bad.
friends, with your siblings, with your parents, witnessing your parents with your siblings. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
just sensing this, it's complete compliance or complete withdrawal for you because you can't say what you want or you lose people, or you can't say what you want without all the guilt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're just basically, I mean, it's so deep that, yeah, these are just new revelations to me, brand new revelations. And sometimes it wasn't even just one person's needs, it's like multiple person's needs, you know. And I'll tell you one of the most traumatic events that happened to me when I was like, maybe I was like 14. So my brother became heavily addicted to cocaine, and I mean, he had been stealing for many years, but his biggest, you know, one of his biggest moves was to start stealing like thousands of dollars from my parents because my parents had a business. And he was literally going to the bank, impersonating my dad, and taking thousands of dollars out of the bank. As a 14, maybe I was 13, pretty young.
So he's 18 or 19?
Yeah, like he had just become an adult.
Wow.
So he was able to go to the bank and stuff and withdraw money. That was probably one of the most traumatic events for me because I had to, I thought it was my responsibility to help my dad get out of this situation. So he didn't know what to do. I guided him through calling the police, making a decision to, because I made the decision for him to call the police because the bank said, well, there's no way we can stop this unless you make a report. And of course, that's a very difficult decision for a father. But my brother was out of control at the time. I don't know why it was my responsibility to go ahead and guide my dad through the police report process and, you know, basically, and so many other legal issues. That was just the first of many. So basically all my parents parenting, you know, my dad's parenting and my mom's parenting, I parented them through all my brothers and sisters like drug abuse issues.
Right. And so I'm curious, did you ultimately make the decision to file a report, or did you guide your dad? And when it came to that moment, he decided it just might be perceived like it was you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, was he forced to make that decision, or did you help guide him to that point? But he ultimately did choose to make the report.
Yeah, I think he ultimately chose to make the report. I mean, I don't think I could have done it, you know, as a 13-year-old or whatever. So yeah, he did it.
But it seems like it was your doing, right? Like you were responsible.
It felt that way, you know. Right. It felt like there was so much chaos and I was the only one who was able to take action.
How come you think it needed to feel that way between you and your dad?
Mm. Um, well, you know, my sister had also gone through several legal, you know, issues with the police and they did not handle it well. My sister like stole a car and like drove to another state when she was 16. I was like, I think so. I think these things kind of happened at the state around the same time, and I just didn't have faith that they could do it. I didn't have faith that they would be able to handle it.
Right.
Yeah.
So, how did you feel? I'm curious in the aftermath after you quote unquote made the decision.
Mm-hmm.
How did you feel to make the report, made the decision to make the report?
Yeah, I think there was a lot of relief, I feel like I did the right thing. I helped,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yeah. And yet that's a huge amount of responsibility to rely on a 13-year-old to provide.
Mhm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, still haven't gained that faith back in my family. Still
Mm-hmm.
not there.
Right.
Hmm.
And so then, if and when action is needed, right, who are they going to call?
Um, so I think maybe like I probably ate over because when I tell them this, they were like, "Oh no, you didn't do anything. Like you didn't help. You were just
Mm,
a kid." So I don't think they think I help, but they do tell me their problems like so much, like I feel like they overshare all of their issues with me, and I listen, I still
mhm,
listen. I'm just being able now to say, I don't really want to discuss that topic,
right.
like that you're, whatever it is, that you just emotionally, I just don't really want to, I don't want to be there for them in that way anymore.
Mhm. What's it like to acknowledge that? I don't want to be there in that way anymore for them.
It feels good.
Mhm.
Yeah, it feels really good. It feels like I'm cutting the cords.
Right?
I don't let them guilt me anymore.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I had to hang up on my mom the other day. Like she was just being so rotten. She was just like, because I had been to the dentist that day and I was like trying to tell her that my teeth hurt. And
Mm,
she's like pretty much denying my feelings. Like, no, you shouldn't feel that way. It'll only, it's only going to be a couple hours. And she was trying to make me feel better, but she just doesn't know how. I just want you to be like, I'm just getting used to this, acknowledging feelings, just acknowledge how I feel. Don't try to fix it or make it better. And usually when I try to end those conversations, I feel super guilty afterward. But I really helped myself this last time around. Like I did what I had to do.
mhm. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, even if because usually she pouts and she'll like, I can't believe how you treated me. She'll do that kind of thing to continue to guilt trip me. But it didn't
Yeah.
happen this time because I've been working on setting boundaries with her.
Mhm. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Mhm. All right.
Yeah.
So, hearing what you've shared thus far, ways you were raised, reinforced, and rewarded to put the needs of others above your own, how that's left you exhausted, exasperated, and enveloped in shit relationships. What comes to heart and mind for an area in your life where you are currently playing small? You want to take up more space that we can talk through
Hmm.
today.
Okay. I think it's that I have a new job, which is great. Um, my career has really suffered over the last 15 years or so,
Mm.
in my 20s. And, like you talk about too in your podcast, like, well, my traumas have definitely affected my career. So, I have a new job and already I'm worried that
Mm.
because I have a female boss, and at first I was really happy about it because we do relate a lot, but now I'm already sensing that I'm like, oh no, I'm not able to set boundaries. Um, because she seems like she's crazy workaholic and I am not.
Mm.
So like I've been good with like feeling satisfactory with my own progress. I actually started my own business for the last 3 years because I just wanted to get confident in my own skills without anybody, criticizing me or um and so but now I'm starting a regular um like job with a company, and I'm worried I'm not going to be able to set boundaries. So
Mm.
just like I don't know what those even are. I'm going to have to work through it, but people pleasing, being quiet. Like basically, I had a meeting with her today, and she talked like the entire time. She
Mm.
talked for the entire hour, and I basically maybe said 10 to 20 words the whole time, which was frightening to me. Like, why is this happening?
Mm.
So that will set me off. Um, I will get depressed or I'll get angry because I don't have a voice.
Right.
Um, so I'm gonna have to figure that out before I get deeper into this job and start, people will start looking at me in that way, and I don't want that. I want them to look at me, I want them to give me space.
Right.
And that's like a codependent thing to say, right? Like, give me space, and rather than taking up space, like I just, yeah, I'm expecting that they do something for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If only everyone could read our minds like we read theirs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're starting a new job. Congrats.
Thanks.
And you have a female boss. You're like, yes, I'm a female. She's a female. This is going to be great. And now you're worried. Uh-oh. She's a crazy workaholic. She talks nonstop. And already, as is evidenced by your meeting today, where she spoke the whole time and you spoke 10 to 20 words, which probably equates to a minute, you're sensing, I am not going to be able to set boundaries. And if I don't set boundaries, it's going to set me off. I'm going to be depressed. I'm going to be angry. People are going to look at me in a certain way. And I don't want that. I want a voice. I want to take up space.
Mhm. Right.
Did anything come up as I summarized that back?
I mean, it feels good to hear it.
What feels good about that?
That, you get it, and it means it doesn't, um, it means something to someone, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, the meals I have sat through and calls I have been on. Diana, I've told you guys, I've recorded entire episodes like after 5 minutes with a guest, not someone like you, but like a professional I'm interviewing. And I'm like, oh my God, I am not going to air this episode. And I sit for a
Yeah.
whole hour, like,
I know.
wow.
Ooh.
So yeah, totally understand.
Yeah.
Right? People pleasing,
I don't
yeah,
know.
not taking up space. And so,
Mhm.
right, but you are aware. Look at that. You are conscious.
Yeah.
You are noticing, Diana, you didn't speak the whole time.
Hmm.
Diana, you're falling into old habits. Diana, you were your own boss for 3 years, and
Right.
now you're working for someone and you're already the old familiar behaviors are coming back. So yay for
Hmm.
awareness.
Okay.
Yay. Step one complete.
Yeah.
Okay, awareness is step one. And hearing, well, with these signs, I am curious because I've shared about this on the code of, what was that? Oh gosh. I did the work series, Sacrificial Helping Syndrome. And
Yeah.
very early on at that job, my therapist, she was like, Marissa, you need to decide if you want to work here. And my
Hmm.
codependent heart said, I can't quit when I totally could have and maybe
Mm-hmm.
should have. So, what you've seen thus far, Diana, are there red flags sufficient enough to make you doubt the job?
Hmm. Okay, so you're asking me to evaluate if the job is like a right fit for me? Oh God. I've gotten to the point where, yeah, I think I'm so happy I got this job because the reason why I started my own business, yes, it was like somewhat successful and I could support myself. But the main reason I got out of my other jobs was because of my lack of, I guess, you know, self confidence. And so, right now, to answer your question, I may have reverted back to that person I was before I ran my business because my business was not very financially secure. I would get big months and then no business for a couple months. So my decision has been mostly financial. Um, and a lot of the other stuff has kind of flown out the window again. So I guess to answer your question, you're saying, are there red flags? Um, I can't decide if it's them or me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mostly want to say it's me
Of
because
course you do.
that's yeah,
Right,
because it's been my pattern. It's
right.
not how could it be the job if I'm the one who keeps getting enraged, frustrated at jobs? It's the pattern is me. So I must change. That's my mentality right now.
Hmm. What if the enragement and I forget the other word you used might reflect misalignment?
Yeah, there's just been so many misalignments. Yeah.
Okay, so not to figure out today,
Hmm.
and yet, when did you start?
Only last week.
Okay, yeah. So
Yeah.
only last week. Okay,
Yeah.
that's not enough information, and yet you are
Yeah.
gathering data.
Uh-huh.
And so let's say last week we're like mid July. So
Uh-huh.
come mid August, do you sense that like four
I
full
see.
weeks would be sufficient enough for you to take some time
Mm.
to write down the, good or bad or aligned or misaligned or however, whatever categories you want to,
Okay.
I don't know, we could do something really healing, like compassionate, non-compassionate aspects of the
Uh-huh.
workspace, right? Writing those out
Okay.
and taking time after 4 full weeks to sense how you're feeling overall about the position,
Okay.
and then discerning what you want to do from
Mm-hmm.
there.
Yeah, that is a good plan. I would never have considered that because I guess the mentality is that I'm lucky I even got a job, in my field and the industry's good and, the team seems healthy enough. Um, so yeah, I'm in that mind state right now where it's like it's really hard to find a job that meets at least the main requirements. But I think it would still probably help me if I did an evaluation of some sort.
Right. And I say discernment, I haven't done an episode on it yet, but let me just look up the meaning of discernment because I love it.
Okay.
So, discernment is, let me see, discern. I feel like I saw better definitions, but like it's to perceive or recognize something,
Mhm.
to distinguish something with like difficulty by sight and other senses. And
Okay.
so it's using, yeah, your mind, your body,
Mm.
your soul, your heart
Okay.
to weigh a dilemma and taking all of that in, discerning what's best
Hmm.
in response.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. That helps me. It reminds me a lot about some of the work I've done and how when I've shifted that, it just changes my relationships completely. Like even like on a spiritual level, like things just kind of the right like universal thing happens almost where
Mhm.
it's just my mind too that has shifted.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay. I see we're almost at time. Do you have a couple more minutes?
Yeah, if you would like to, sure.
Okay. Yeah. So I am curious. So you have awareness
Hmm.
right now. You do have to make a decision.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe, yeah, and you're like, I never thought of that. And it's like, oh no, like this is gonna be a conscious, obviously you're choosing to work right now. You are
Hmm.
choosing to collect data for 4 weeks. And then after 4 weeks, you're gonna decide, do I want to continue or not?
Mm.
Yeah, I think 4 weeks will be enough evidence
Okay.
to discern. And I am curious, you said that you started here for financial reasons. Okay. You have your own business. Diana, you were building your business during the pandemic.
Hmm.
Okay. Just to notice that. And you also have been building with inflation and the economy as it is, which is difficult.
Yeah.
And you came to the conclusion that due to financial reasons. Okay, let me look for a job. Is it part-time? Is it full-time? How much time are you spending at this job?
It's full time.
Full-time. And you still
Mhm.
have your business.
Yeah, but I'm probably not going to run my business anymore.
Okay. So
So I kind of gave it up. I'm a codependent.
we'll say more about that. How can you kind of give up your business?
Well, I gave up basically. So, oh, this isn't working anymore. But it's not to say that it isn't working anymore. I just wasn't working. I just didn't want to work on it anymore. And I'm confused, right? I do want to work on it, but I like lost faith, I guess, that I would be able to make it.
Mhm.
So yeah, I gave up pretty much.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's other things that I wanted. Like I was working all by myself, you know. I was doing like sales operations. I did media production, you know, accounting, all of that. I did that on my own, and I just said, I kind of want to I want to work in a company, you know. So there's a need there that, you know, I'm getting fulfilled through the job
Mhm.
as
Yeah.
well.
Coworkers, stability,
Hmm.
not having all those hats. And yet you had 3 years of reprieve from, you said, criticism, your career being totally misaligned thanks to codependency,
All right.
and you're your own boss. So for 3 years, you were doing that, and now you're in this position 40 hours a week and likely gonna let go of your business due to financial reasons. And
Financial, and I think some of those other needs I expressed to you, like community.
right. And I'm curious, when you are discerning 4 weeks from now,
Hmm.
I think it's important for you to reflect, due to financial reasons, is this worth it?
Yeah. Okay.
Or is there some middle ground where it is 20 hours a week of you continuing to build your confidence? Because you said you lacked self-confidence in other positions. And so is it 20 hours a week on your business to cultivate that? Because if you haven't had it, it's going to take
Maybe.
time. Hmm?
Hmm. Yeah.
And
These are
then
new.
20 hours somewhere else. So there's right, or is it, 10 and 30 or whatever the breakdown is, but it's just like I am my own boss on one
Hmm.
extreme. And then now you're over here 40 hours a week for a
Exactly.
workaholic woman.
Yeah. That's funny, right?
It's
What
not.
happened?
It's the ever familiar reality of codependummies. We're
Right.
all about extremes. Right? And it is finding that
Totally.
balance, that gray area, that middle ground that is such a vital part of our healing.
Thanks. Yes. I like this.
Yeah.
That's
Right?
good.
Like with you, you're like, you have a
Totally.
feeling, and it's either like, well, you have it, and then it's like seeking other people's validation. And there's like, no, it's just like, how, like, where's the middle ground with, again, like creating like some self-validation and then some healthy connections
Hmm.
where, yeah, therapists,
Thanks.
friends, apparently, with family. I sometimes, I think I've said it on the podcast before. It's like, we can't keep going to the hardware store for milk. They don't sell milk at the hardware store. We have to go to the grocery store to buy milk. And we're just like, but the hardware store, maybe today, or like, no. Right. So yeah, learning that, and then finding that balance.
Thanks. Yeah, that's really helpful. That gives me a lot of relief, just like instantly.
Yeah.
I don't know why I always feel like I have to give everything up. People please me. I will be everything for you always.
Yeah, you said I was not attached to myself. How can you feel like you even have anything to give up when you don't have anything to give up? Because it's already theirs.
Yeah. Uh-oh. Glad I did this.
Yeah. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah.
Okay, so to review for everyone and Diana, we worked through, you have a new job and you're worried. She's a crazy workaholic lady. And you've gone from having your own business to employed AF 40 hours a week. And it's been 1 week. And also, it's been an entire week, right? So also not like minimizing, like you're collecting data, making observations all the time, and it's all important. So you've had a week, and we're sensing a healthy amount of time to weigh this position is 4 weeks. And around August, mid-August, you're going to sit down. What do you want to compare? Or yeah, what do you sense your discernment chart will be made up of?
Well, like, naturally I'm gonna, move to black and white thinking, which is like I need to get away from that. So that's why I'm scared at this whole conversation. It's like, do I quit or do I keep working here? And I don't think you're trying to lead me to that. I think you're trying to lead me to just collecting data about how I feel about it, not making a decision right away. So I think, I'll need to look at, my physical health, my mental health. Do I have the same habits? Do I have better habits? Am I improving my habits, or are they worsening? Financial too is like a big sign, like, because usually when I make more money, I just spend more money. And then but I'm not even taking better care of myself. I'm just like spending my money on stuff that I don't need to spend money on. So I guess it's physical, financial, mental.
Right. And yeah, so like, yeah, how I've been doing physically this month, how I've been doing mentally, financially. Am I actually connecting with my coworkers? So socially, is it reciprocating? Or yeah, like if you're trying to connect with people and every call you're on, you talk for a minute and others talk for 59, that's important to notice. And so, yeah, so after you have this review, 4-week review, yeah, the question isn't should I quit or not? The question is this aligned? If not, what can I do? Right? Are there conversations? Are there changes? Are there tweaks I can make? Or yeah, Diana, it might be a shitty 4 weeks. And then it might be, okay, do I look for another position? Do I
Mhm.
keep my
Yeah.
business going?
Mhm. Okay. Thanks.
Yeah. Just trying to like notice like all the options in
Mhm.
between these two extremes of
Yeah,
my own
that's
boss
helpful.
versus working.
Yeah, and even in my job description, it says nothing about 40 hours. It says nothing about the number of hours I work. It says nothing about the time of the day I work even. So I think there's some flexibility in there too that I should take advantage of.
Oh, yeah.
Hmm. Which I never thought I
Okay.
could.
Yeah. So awareness, step one, check. We're going to do 4 weeks about observation and then a discernment morning, afternoon, evening with yourself
Mm.
and validating, trusting what you discern and
Okay.
moving forward with an option that you sense is best.
Okay.
And email
Yeah.
me and let me know how it goes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right.
Mm.
Well, thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
And dear sweet listener, Diane and I connected because she emailed me a couple months back and we corresponded for some time. And then I was like, hey, you want to come on?
Mhm.
And she's here. So hopefully you learned from this as well. Where are you playing small? Where can you start taking up more space? And hope that you resonated. We are rooting for you. And we'll see you all next week.
Cool. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks, Marissa.
Thank you. Hey, girl. It's Marissa again. I'm not like a regular podcaster, I'm a cool podcaster, right? Thank you for listening and staying till the end. You can find me on Instagram at Therapy with Marissa. Email me, Marissa at codependummy.com. Check out codependummy.com for more information on the show. And baby girl, a subscribe, rating, and review would be much appreciated. Till next time, I want you to remember, if you are feeling unseen, I see you. If you are feeling unheard, I hear you. And if you think that you don't matter, know that you matter to me. I want you to go out there so you can stop playing small and start taking up space, you dummy. And now, the disclaimer. Girl, this is not therapy and I am not your therapist. This podcast is designed to provide accurate and authoritative information in regards to the subject matter covered. It is given with the understanding that neither the host, publisher, or guests are rendering any legal, clinical, or other professional service. If you want or need a professional, please find one.